Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Just one quick reminder. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Richard, the team, and their guests as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow as financial advice. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes. All right, what's going on, Cryptocurrent crew? For Cryptocurrent, I'm Stephen Miller, and you are watching another episode of our Monday and Friday interview series. Today, not so much like an interview. We're doing things a little bit differently today because there was a massive story that broke midweek last week, and we think that this special report is going to be your gateway to connecting with exactly what's going on around the Bored Ape Yacht Club right now. And yes, of course, we're talking about Apecoin, the topic that's on everyone's lips right now within the world of crypto. And we want to make sure that you, our dear listeners, and our friends at home are really well informed and connected to what is going on in the metaverse right now. And there's nothing bigger than Apecoin. So we're going to get into a couple of really big topics surrounding Apecoin today, surrounding Yuga Labs, the Bored Ape Yacht Club at large. But before we do me a big favor. Make sure that you are always subscribed to us here on YouTube and also over on your preferred podcast platform. We are bringing you content now Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and this is just the start of a brand new week. So we're going to jump into this bold coverage on Apecoin. So before you actually just decide, hey, it's time to buy some coins, it's time to get into the token, we want to make sure that you are educated on where this all came from, right? So Apecoin had its point of origin on the 16th of last week, and it basically was this announcement put out by what they have now formed as the Apecoin Foundation, announcing that, hey, it's coming. March 17th, it came. Every single major centralized exchange, including Binance, Coinbase, FTX, Gemini, Wobi, KuCoin, OKX, Kraken, every single one of them listed it on day one. Talk about something that is absolutely unprecedented. I don't know of any or many other coins that have had that privilege on their launch day. So very big statement right there alone. But it also then went to list on all major dexes. So you may be asking yourself, okay, fine. What is the entire point of this? Because if you're going to invest in something long-term instead of trade on it in the short term, it's best to understand what this token is really aiming to do. Well, right up front, the token is essentially a point in time fixed where you saw Yuga Labs make this big decision to split the parentage of the Bored Ape Yacht Club and Apecoin into three separate formal organizations with a fourth on the back end. So of course you have Yuga Labs still. That is the business that built Bored Ape Yacht Club, but they're now going to be what they consider an ecosystem contributor. So they're going to be making new properties, adding new features, building out elements of what they plan to do with Bored Ape Yacht Club into the future. You then have ApeDAO. ApeDAO is essentially where they're going to be bringing together the community governance of Apecoin and everything surrounding Bored Ape Yacht Club. So when I say community governance, we're really talking about voting. So essentially by holding Apecoin, you're going to be a part of the decentralized autonomous organization that governs everything that happens in the Bored Ape universe and metaverse. Next, you have the Ape Foundation, which essentially is meant to be the admins of that DAO. And of course, you have the Bored Ape Yacht Club. The only access point to the majority of what's going on here in the content pool that is the Bored Ape Yacht Club and all of its surrounding properties. But to understand really the big potential of this you have to at least look at the people that are in charge of it right now. The people who have been charged as what they call their special counsel or their board. And let me tell you, this board truly is bananas, pun very much intended. You have 5 individuals on their special counsel. You have Alexis Ohanian, who is the founder of Reddit. Some of you may be familiar with Reddit. That's because it's one of the biggest individual blogging sites and community boards out on the internet. Amy Wu, who is the head of ventures and business development for FTX, which is a massive exchange. Dean Steinbeck, who is, I believe, the head of Horizon Labs and in charge of the majority of their investment arm. You have Maria Bajwa from Sound Ventures. I believe she is the head of Sound Ventures right now. And if Sound Ventures sounds familiar, it's because I'm 95% positive that is the venture capital firm that Ashton Kutcher put together. So to say that the Bored Ape Yacht Club has celebrity backing may be the understatement of the century, but they have a really big celebrity backer in Ashton Kutcher. Lastly, you have Yatsu, who is the head of Animoca Brands, massive gaming and IP property company for metaverse-related projects, also for bigger gaming properties. So if you've heard of the Sandbox, Animoca is the parent to the Sandbox. So Yatsu has plenty of involvement in the metaverse and plenty of involvement in gaming. He will bring a lot of that knowledge to Apecoin and the entire group that will eventually be building out Bored Ape Yacht Club and the entire Bored Ape universe. So is this really just a situation where we're talking about, okay, the rich are just getting richer? No, we're not. That's not to say that they aren't, but that's not exactly what we're saying here. So, of course, a big portion of the people that are out there claiming Apecoin right now were members of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They either hold a Bored Ape, they hold a Mutant Ape, or they hold a Bored Ape and a Bored Ape Kennel Club NFT, or they hold a Mutant Ape and a Bored Ape Kennel Club NFT. They then got paid out based on their holdings, 10K Apecoin per Bored Ape, 2K Apecoin per Mutant Ape, or if they had a Bored Ape Kennel Club NFT, in addition to their Bored Ape, they'd get paid out 11,000 Apecoin. Or if they had a Bored Ape Kennel Club piece with a Mutant Ape, they'd get paid out 3,000 Apecoin. So I guess you may be wondering right now, okay, great. You have all these people claiming tokens. Am I just screwed? The answer is still no. This is just a portion of the Apecoin that's going to be out in the market. So it's important to understand exactly, what's going to happen with all these tokens now that they have a distribution schedule. All of these individuals who own Bored Ape NFTs are going to be able to claim their tokens, the ones that they're, permitted to claim, during a 90-day claim window. Every single token after that is left unclaimed is going to revert back into their treasury, basically giving the foundation a lot more flexibility in terms of what they can do. So essentially, you have this unique breakdown. So only 62% of all of the Apecoin out in circulation, which is a circulation of 1 billion tokens, and that's fixed. They're never going to add more. They're never going to take away from it. 62% of that token pool is going to go to the holders of Bored Ape properties and the treasury behind Apecoin. Then from there, you have smaller percentages that essentially are breaking out portions of that 1 billion tokens. You have a part that's going to the Jane Goodall Foundation and Yuga Labs. The Jane Goodall Foundation, of course, is the charity that Yuga Labs supports. You have all those launch contributors that we talked about, every single one of those centralized exchanges, all of them get a big cut. And then lastly, you have 8% of that 1 billion tokens that is being dedicated and given back to the Bored Ape Yacht Club founders. That's not together all too uncommon. I saw a lot of people getting really pissed off about that online, but the reality is that this bigger pool presents a lot of opportunity. All those tokens that you could go and purchase on centralized exchanges, they're made available from the 62% of tokens that are out there. But okay, great. You buy these tokens, or you're, claiming these tokens if you're a Bored Ape holder. What can you do with them? That's the big question here. And that is always going to revolve around utility. Now, in this case, they've identified 4 specific utilities for Apecoin. It's going to be used for governance. So essentially, you're going to be able to use Apecoin to vote on what they're calling ape improvement proposals in the Apecoin DAO. You're going to have the ability to use it for monetary exchange of goods and services within the metaverse at large. You're going to be able to use it for access, essentially to be able to purchase exclusive merch and for use at in real life activations. So if they have bigger events or they have another Ape Fest like they had last year at NFT NYC, you're going to be able to use your Apecoin there in real life. And lastly, to incentivize third-party development. This is where I think we need to take one quick step aside, because you have to ask yourself, okay, great. Like if there are third parties that are going to come in and they're going to start developing around Apecoin, how does that tie in at all? Well, right now across Web3 and in the whole NFT space, everything's really siloed, right? You have the Bored Ape properties. You have Cool Cats. You have our good friends over at the Illuminati with Illuminati NFT. All of them are not working together, right? Well, the entire goal of the metaverse is to bring them together, allow you to essentially work as one big unit. Because really, isn't that the entire point of this whole metaverse thing? To have like one big virtual world that we're all tied to? That's essentially where they're headed. They want to give you the ability to use Apecoin as the primary token of use in the metaverse. That's their goal. And that's why they're essentially right now building out not your traditional metaverse concept, but they want to build out an interoperable gaming metaverse. So when we look at this brand new idea they're bringing forward, which they're calling MetaRPG, they're partnering with Animoca Brands to produce this bigger game. And it's going to essentially bring a whole bunch of properties together, but it's going to bring your properties to their metaverse. That's the big missing ingredient here. You can participate in the sandbox and you can have your own avatar in there, but it's not any of the NFTs that you own. You can participate in Decentraland, but you're going to have to create a character or an avatar in their world and then use NFTs to, deck them out, to give them clothes. In this world, you're going to be able to take all the NFTs that you bought, and by using their in-game app store, you're going to be able to take those NFTs that you own and model your own characters based on your properties. So that on its own is totally novel. So will this succeed? The answer is simply that they have a story and a brand that all of modern culture and the current cultural zeitgeist is obsessed with. So to think that they're, not going to, get this to work based on just the fact that it's a big idea, it's out of sight, out of mind, because they have all of, popular culture's attention right now. So they're really building something that's bigger than Bored Apes, right? But to build something that unifies everybody, they need to create something that's truly decentralized and interoperable, right? So as we're looking at this bigger ecosystem they're trying to build, it has to start somewhere. It can't just jump straight into characters. So through this new MetaRPG, you're going to be able to first get in during a virtual land sale. And again, this is a massive part of the use of Apecoin. It's currently believed that to buy land in the MetaRPG, you're going to need to use Apecoin. To actually create a character in the MetaRPG world, you're going to have to use Apecoin. Say it with me, folks. Each plot that you would purchase will contain distinct traits. You've got artifacts, you have natural resources. And in some rare cases, you'll actually be able to harvest unique characters. The one that they're, right now hyping and that's just leaked out is these characters called codas. The codas are a really interesting design. They're kind of like fairies in a way, but they're made to look really damn cute. So to say that like your kids, if you have kids, that they're going to want one, they're going to want 12 is the answer. So you're going to, want to get your hands on these cute codas. And the only way to do that is by participating in these land sales. So they're going to be doing 2 of them. You're going to have a land sale in late March, and you're going to have a land sale in August. Big picture, they see Apecoin not just as like a fad. This is going to be here for quite a while. And we need to all wrap our heads around that, especially if we're going to be considering aping in. But here's where I start to get a little bit, let's just say, too excited. We're less than a week into Apecoin's existence, and you already have plenty of use cases, and they're coming out organically. They're not just stuff that like Yuga Labs has been, developing in the background. Of course, some of them have been, background or backroom discussions, but others are really coming out of the woodwork just because people want to integrate this. They see the potential of it. So Animoca Brands obviously was going to be one of the very first ones that came out. So they announced that their Benji Bananas mobile game is going to use Ape for all of like their in-game purchase options. So like to go and purchase additional downloadable content, you're going to be able to use Apecoin. Then there's another really big, this is going to sound ridiculous, there's another really big NFT project out there called The Littles. Yeah, a big NFT project called The Littles. The Littles, in my opinion, is one of the most adorable NFTs out there. They're these little cute bears, and they all have unique designs. It's a 10K collection, and they're great. Their entire premise is to not take things so seriously, and they wanted to have their own little like gaming universe of their own. And they're deploying that through like an arcade. Well, they said basically a day and a half into Apecoin that you're going to be able to use Apecoin in their upcoming arcade. So now you're getting cross-property utilization of Apecoin. Then you have Enway. Enway is another massive gaming company, particularly in the mobile world, but they also have a handful of other bigger games. They decided they're going to reveal / leak a teaser trailer for their upcoming play-to-earn game that will be adopting Apecoin. Great. So we have all of these new utilizations of this brand new token in the metaverse, in crypto gaming, in play-to-earn. But it doesn't stop there. And that's the thing that, to me, really conveys this insane opportunity behind Apecoin, and why I think that, personally, I believe it's going to take off and it's going to be around for a very long time to come. It's not just Dogecoin. It's not some meme coin. Apecoin is bringing the entire community in crypto together, and I have a feeling it's going to bring a lot more people into crypto than you might imagine. 2 examples. Less than 3 days after Apecoin's launch, you had 11 residences. That's not like 11 of these residences. That is a brand, 11 residences in Miami. They announced that they're going to start accepting Apecoin as a form of payment. So you're going to be able to pay your rent in Apecoin. Seamless transaction, you're covered. Then you have Saltwater Brewery. Saltwater Brewery, of course, is a brewing company. They make beer. Surprise. But they're going to offer a discount for all purchases made in Apecoin. So all of these vendors are now going to start creating payment portals where you can purchase their goods, services, and even in some cases, pay your rent in Apecoin. It's pretty wild stuff. I didn't think that we'd be getting here this fast, but did. So what really is the case for whether or not you should be aping in? Well, there's 2 sides, right? You have the case against, which, from the way I see it, you have a lot going on in the market right now. You have Bitcoin still being the cryptocurrency that leads the market, and a lot of the market follows Bitcoin's momentum. We're still trading sideways. We've been trapped around 40K and down to, I believe, 34 better part of the last month. So if we're trading sideways, there's not a lot of momentum for Apecoin to surge up. That said, not a lot of reason for it to surge down either. The other piece is that, unfortunately, in like the early days of Apecoin, you had some DEX exploits. And that was done mostly by these specific bots that were made to manipulate the system. And then you also had other people that were manipulating what are called flash loans. Both of these topics are very heady. I don't want to get too deep into them. But if you have interest in learning more about them, let us know in the comments, or of course, tweet at us on Twitter and let us know. Flash loans are a really fascinating concept, and how people exploit decentralized exchanges is important to understand. But moreover, it's not necessarily going to stop. Unfortunately, right now, this is something that is still rampant in crypto. People are finding unique and new ways to exploit systems to take advantage. It's the nature of the beast, we'll say. But then you also have let's just call it a developing narrative. And that is from the world of gaming. As you know, gaming is a massive, massive economic driver at this point. It's a huge industry. And the big players in that industry, including Twitch streamers, bigger, influencers, and even some gaming companies, are coming out and spreading FUD around NFTs and what it means for the metaverse. I have a lot of opinions on that. I'm going to save them for a later date. But the point is that this specific group is going to be bringing a ton of fear, uncertainty, and doubt into the space to try to shake you out, to get you to take their side. That could theoretically bring Apecoin's price down if people start panicking. So that's the case against buying Ape right now. What's the case for buying Ape right now? The big one is, folks, I've never seen the type of utility that Apecoin's bringing to market, especially not this quickly. The fact that you can purchase in real life goods within a week of its drop, it's huge. You've got the ability to use this token in their metaverse for in-game purchases, for just a wide variety of things beyond the base of just governance. The more you use a token, the more you need a token. You get what I'm saying here? Capiche? It's going to be a really hot commodity. So you're going to have use cases developing even faster than just the 5 days it's been out, right? We have so much proof that broader organizations, brands, individuals are going to want to come up with new ways to accept Apecoin, businesses that just have a function that is only paid for using Apecoin, or even just virtual property that you can only buy in Apecoin. They're going to come, and they're going to come in hot. Okay. They're going to come in probably in folds of 20 across the next 3 weeks. But I wouldn't be surprised if you saw something to the tune of 100 to 200 utilizations of Apecoin by the end of this quarter. And I think that's probably a low estimate. And then lastly, of course, in my mind, the biggest reason to buy Apecoin right now is for this MetaRPG land sale that's coming up. Land sales have been a really, really hot area within the investment marketplace with NFTs and metaverse. And the idea of virtual real estate has really caught on. And to think that you really just need Apecoin to be able to buy in, it's not, completely locked in at this point, but you're going to need it because MetaRPG is a whole economy. We're talking about every single interaction that you have in this MetaRPG is going to demand Apecoin. They're going to encourage trading and bartering and essentially introduce this as a soft currency to allow for more accessible spending, not just in the game, but in real life. So as we look to the future of, okay, is it a wise time to ape into Apecoin? The by the book answer that I can give you, nothing that we say on the show is financial advice. Everything that you hear is a financial opinion, and I do not want to be held legally obligated or liable for any of your financial decisions. But I think the truth is that this is a decision you need to make with good diligence. And that's what we're here trying to provide. Good diligence, good background, good information. Because without that, you're always going to make uninformed decisions. So as I look at this right now, after I have done my diligence on this, and as I have even managed to get my hands on some leaked material, and by that I mean the Yuga Labs pitch deck for all of this, I think this is a really great token. I think that this is probably going to be one of the most notably used tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. And I have a feeling that we're going to see it absolutely skyrocket once we get past the first land sale. I'm not saying that this metaverse is not going to have hiccups. It will. Oh, believe me, it will. But if there's a time where the market pulls back just a little bit, I would be looking to acquire a very healthy bag of Apecoin, because the use cases, they just will keep coming. Right now, with where we are, we've got this big drop coming up, right? You have the airdrop coming for Codas. You have Ape Fest coming up in June, right around NFT NYC. You have all these new things that are coming. I'm not trying to leak too much here because, again, it's private information, but like you even have new properties coming from Bored Ape, from the folks behind Bored Ape, Yuga Labs. You're only going to be able to buy that with Apecoin. I can promise that. So look, continue to do your diligence, invest wisely, and stay up to date on what is cooking in the world of crypto. There is no easy way to say this. It's a risky landscape right now. With everything going on in the world, you've got, war unfortunately still going on over in Eastern Europe. You have a lot of financial uncertainty here in the United States. You have to act wisely. You have to make the right decisions. Don't act hastily because one of your favorite commentators here at Cryptocurrent is telling you that this might be a really good opportunity. Only act if it's right for you in your current financial condition. So look, that's going to do it for us here at Cryptocurrent this week. We hope that you enjoyed this quick special report on everything Apecoin, everything Yuga Labs, everything Bored Ape Yacht Club. We, of course, will be back on Wednesday with another edition of the Aftershock, bringing you more of the content that is shaping this world of cryptocurrency. And of course, covering the biggest news stories of the last week. And trust me, folks, in addition to this Apecoin news, there was a lot that came out of the last week. But I certainly hope you'll join us for that. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you're following the show wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And we'll see you next time. Stay cryptocurrent.